The learning center I created was for math. We're going to be using geoboards. It's going to incorporate art. The grade level I chose was first grade, but it can be used for upper and lower grades. For upper grades, you can maybe use it for area because you can have it show the squared units. For lower grades, just starting out with shapes, I use it for my practicum in my preschool class, and they seem to enjoy it. The standards of learning was math, specifically geometry 1.13. The student will construct, model, and describe objects in the environment as geometric shapes, triangle, rectangle, square, and circle, and explain the reasonableness of each choice. Basically, I have pictures of real life objects that you'll see later that they're going to look at and try to see the two-dimensional shape. The other SOL is visual art 1.12. The student will use motor skills to create a two-dimensional shape. That basically they're going to be using their fingers and rubber bands to create the shapes, which is their works of art. These are the directions I'd hand out to the students. I'd have to go over it with them first, but eventually they should know it without the directions if you continue to do it for a while. The directions I made was take out a geoboard or iPad from the math shelf. The iPad I probably wouldn't have on a math shelf. I'd probably have it so they'd have to sign it out so it won't get lost or stolen. The next would be using the geoboard or iPad, construct all the shapes the best you can with the rubber bands. If you finish with the first shapes, try and find shapes in the real life objects provided. For example, a volcano, I see a triangle. Basically, that's just showing them that the volcano shape I see is specifically the two-dimensional shape of a triangle. Lastly, if they finish all of those, then they can continue making it until the bell rings to move on to the next center, which I don't foresee that happening, but if they're pretty quick and advanced, then they might run through this pretty quickly. These are the shapes they're going to start out with for practice. The star and the heart will probably be pretty difficult, but you can make it. It wouldn't look exactly like those, but you can make them. I wouldn't require it, but the more advanced students could probably figure it out. Next, we move on to the 3D shapes. As you can see, here's the volcano, and I can see a triangle. But since they're not working on three-dimensional shapes, we're just going to go with two-dimensional, and you can see here a triangle, maybe an oval here, a triangle, and a circle here, and kind of like a awkward triangle shape there. But it continues on with triangles and circles, rectangles. These are cylinders, but you could use circles and squares with that, and rectangles, and then squares. Here's the geoboard that I would provide and they could use. You can see here's all the rubber band choices. These are all the little options. You can make a smaller one or one of the larger ones or a circular one. Or you could even show the grid so that they can actually see the area. That's what I'm talking about with the area. Turn that off. So you can't really make a circle with this because it'll just make some type of edge shape. So there's a writing tool here that they could do it, and they could show you that they know and understand what a circle is. So they would look at these shapes that I showed you first to start out with and just create the shapes using the geoboard and the rubber bands. So they make, they would make a square and, etc. Then they would look at these shapes and kind of say, oh, that looks like an oval. So they can't really draw circular shapes. So they'd have to use, ooh, I don't know how to get rid of that. So they'd have to use this to make kind of the oval shape just to show that they understand it. So they continue to look on and they maybe see, a triangle. So they'd show that they can make it a triangle. Not a pretty triangle, but it's a triangle. And then they just move on, and then they go and continue to make rectangles and squares, and that's pretty much it.